Good day, it is I, Lord Penderbury, and welcome to Evolution Sim Racing. We are here this evening for rounds 7 and 8 at Pocono, a racetrack that I purchased, I think, 3 seasons ago for a league race, then didn't end up racing, and I wasn't available for this week's races either, so money well spent for me. I have not turned a single wheel on that track. Anyway, before we crack on with this week's highlights, if you would like to come and get involved with Evolution Sim Racing, then there are some delightful little reasons over here, and there's a website just below that you can visit as well. So if you want to visit that website, come and join our Discord, get involved. You are more than welcome, just don't be a prick. But yeah, anyway, I think that's pretty much all from me for the intro this week. So for now, let's crack on with this week's highlights, and yeah, see you on the flip side. Well, hello then, and welcome to the absolute fucking joke that is the weather here at, well, you couldn't tell, but it's Pocono. Let me bring up some race information so you can actually see something. Honestly, we need to do away with this fucking dynamic weather shit. Like, this isn't fucking perfect storm. We don't need this. It's ridiculous. Anyway, round 7, Pocono and the NASCAR Xfinities. As you can see, it's a cheese triangle of a track that looks like it's been slightly lent on in the lunchbox. It's 4.03 kilometers long, and it is in the USA because the USA is obviously great. It is the first race of the evening, the sprint race. That means it is 25 minutes long, no mandatory pit stop required. And let's take a look at the grid then. Well, leading the way was Dan Slattery. He was a full 0.3 of a second ahead of Jeff Sharp, which, I mean, on ovals you expect it to be tight, and on cheese triangles you expect it to be tight as well, but it's not that tight. Ricky Worrell was then in third, with Chris Hulse venturing into the pro category there. James Hurlow was then in 5th place, with Jamie Nicholson alongside in 6th. Steve Moore was then in 7th. I still need to sort out his fucking pro thing. I'm not sure why that's not working. I don't know why some of the colours have all changed as well, so that's interesting. Josh Levy's then in 8th, with Steve Everson in 9th, Paul Nicholson in 10th, Axel Edwards in 11th, and Josh Morris in 12th. Is there anybody else? Oh yeah, Anthony Marriott in 13th, and Brian Dodd in 14th. Honestly, this is a fucking joke. The pace car peels in. I only know that because he's in a white coloured car. I've got no idea. Look, full disclosure, I wasn't racing on this evening, so I've got no idea what happened. And after these highlights, I'll still have no idea what happened. Well, they're heading down to the first turn. Quite a wide track at Pocono, isn't it? I did buy it 3 seasons ago to take part in a league race back then, and I didn't use it. Well, everyone's got around the first corner without issue. I tell you what will help. If we can't see the cars, let's at least see the race information. Only 5 competitors in the pro category this evening. Oh, that is somebody going round. May well have been Steve Moore, not sure. Don't worry, not everything I say tonight will rhyme. Fucking hell. Well, that's 1 lap in the book. Someone, whoever it was that went sideways, did manage to gather it all up again. I think it was Ricky Worrell. He is actually racing as the number 22 car this week. That does make my life slightly easier. We'll see what he's racing as in the next one. Let's hide that information. We don't need that. And let's bring up the track map. Well, enjoy this. Your one and only replay in high definition. That's James Hurlow tagging the rear end of Ricky Worrell and essentially ruining his race. Perhaps he mistook him for Lord Penderbury, looking for some revenge, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Well, they are about to embark on the 5th lap. And Dan Slattery leading the way in the pro category, 1.9 seconds ahead of Jeff Sharp. James Hurlow, though, is right on the back of Jeff Sharp, and he looks for the gap into turn 1, and he makes that move. Can Sharp switch back underneath him? Who knows? There's a race out there somewhere. Anyway, now let's take a look at the AM standings then, and Chris Hulse leading the way there. He is 2.7 seconds ahead of Josh Levy. Josh Morris has just got past Steve Everson though. That is where the battle... No, that's Steve Moore. That's not who we want. We want Steve Everson. And it's very close from 4th through to 7th. This little gaggle of cars. Oh, a little kiss against the barriers there from Marriott, the raunchy sod. Taking a look up the inside of the 82 car of the pro driver, Steve Moore. Oh, it's squeaky bum time there. He slithered up towards him. Axel Edwards taking a look at the inside for Steve Everson. Can't do anything. He is holding a much tighter line though as they come through the last turn. Oh, and that is somebody into the barriers. That was Steve Moore. Absolutely clattered them. If I can remember, we will go back and have a look at that. Just to reassure you all, I am working hard with trying to get Steve Moore as showing in the pro standings. So far I've made fuck all progress other than confirming that he is where he's supposed to be in the overlay software. But as we are just over half distance, I suppose it would be rude not to look at the biggest winners and losers in the start of this race. And I mean, that's about as bland as this race has been so far. Jamie Nicholson in the pro standings, he's the big winner. He's up 2 positions. Ricky Warrer is the biggest loser. He is down 2 positions. Big winner though in the AM category is Anthony Marriott. We know that he is a master of the ovals and the cheese triangles in this instance. He is up 4 positions, and the biggest loser, that's Paul Nicholson. He is 4 positions down and rapidly descending. He's into the pit lane. Things going wrong for Paul Nicholson. Biggest loser for him. Yeah, unless anything exciting happens, I'll catch you at the end of the race. Well, the only battle worthy of note at the moment on track is the one between Jeff Sharp and Jamie Nicholson, and that is for 2nd place in the pro category. Less than 0.2 of a second separating them, and you can see them there. They are circulating round corners on this one. Looks like Ricky Worrell has gone into the pits. Not sure what's happened to him. Let's go and take a look at him going through the pits. Yep, there he is. He's stopping for fuel, potentially. Oh dear, he's missed his box. Not the most successful when it comes to pit stops is our Worrell. Ooh, wow, that is the white flag flying, and there's pretty much nothing to race for anyone at this point. Jamie Nicholson's now, well, there he is. He's dropped half a second off the back of one Jeff Sharp. Ignore the 88 car of James Hurlow. He had to pit for a stop, presumably. That's Jamie Nicholson whacking the wall. Let's go to our pro leader, Dan Slattery, as he rounds the second to last corner, or the second corner. Depends which way you want to think about it. I'm sure if you're American, that will actually be turn 4 that he's come out of. Yeah, around there without any trouble, has certainly seemed to master this one. 5.2 seconds ahead of Jeff Sharp. That is the win then for Dan Slattery. Congratulations, Mr. Slattery. We'll then jump across to Chris Hulse. He rounds the final turn. And, well, he's in there somewhere. Ah, yes, there he is. He takes the win in the AM class. Right, let's take a look at those race results then. Firstly, in the pro category, news just in, by the way, we're not seeing Steve Moore there because I cannot work out what is going wrong. Like, everything's as it should be, so I'm reaching out to SDK Gaming in their Discord server to help me with that. So, Steve Moore, I am fighting the good fight for you. Anyway, I presume I don't know where you finished, so yeah, who cares? Fuck it out. If it wasn't obvious, my heart's not really in this tonight. Dan Slattery, you won. Jeff Sharp was in second, with Jamie Nicholson in 3rd place. James Hurley was then in 4th. Ricky Warren was in 5th with the old asterisk. I don't know where Steve Moore came out. Actually, looking at this, Steve came in 4th, I think. So that would put James Hurlow and Ricky Warren in 5th and 6th, respectively. Now, on to the AM standings and results. Chris Hulse leading the way, looking to gain that promotion back into the pro category that I'm sure he craves. Josh Levy was then in 2nd place, 7.2 seconds back, with Josh Morris getting on the podium in 3rd place. Anthony Marriott was then in 4th, with Steve Everson representing Big Dicks Halfway In Racing. Then it was Axel Edwards in 6th, Paul Nicholson in 7th, and Brian Dodd in 8th. Quite unfortunately, we will be back with the highlights of the feature race. I hope they were marginally more exciting than that one. But we will see. We'll see you in just a couple of seconds. Well, hello then, and welcome back to Pocono for round 8, the 45-minute feature race featuring mandatory pit stop. And well, yeah, there's the race information there, and they come streaming out the pits now. Full disclosure, I watched the square root of fuck all of that first race because it was boring as shit. So I've got no idea what liveries people are running, so guess that livery is going to be particularly fun. In fact, I might even try doing it from this camera. That's a lie, I won't. Let's get rid of that, and let's go to the old blimp. Well, that's very difficult to tell. Let's try TV1. Fuck's sake. Well, okay, that looks like that's James Hurley. Also, you can't see this, but I've got a fucking cat sat right in front of my screen, which is not helping. James Hurlow looks like he is on pole position. Is that... Yes, that's Jamie Nicholson hiding behind the cat. Jeff Sharp is next with Dan Slattery alongside, and then presumably somebody else. I think that must be it. I think there's only 4 AM drivers this time round. No Steve Moore, and that's not just in the standings. He legitimately is not out there. Then taking a look at other people, it looks like we might have... Oh, Jesus Christ, cat move. Thank you. Paul Nicholson with Brian Dodd alongside him. Then we have Steve Everson and Josh Levy. Then is Anthony Marriott. Yeah, Anthony Marriott and Chris Hulse. So, yeah, okay, that could have been worse. Well, then, the pace car is about to go into the pits, so we are just about ready. Exciting times, a full 10 of them out on track. That should definitely improve the excitement levels for this second race. Hard really to tell what's going on from this angle. Let's go for the TV mixed camera angle. Which apparently doesn't exist for this track, so when I said I did that in the first race, I didn't. And I'll probably cut that bit out anyway, so now you're not going to know what I'm talking about. But somebody is in the lead. That is James Hurlow. That's, for some reason, I've just tried to bring up the race information, and for reasons unknown to me, SDK Gaming Overlay is not opening, despite the fact it is open. Oh, someone twats the wall there. Was that Levy? Yes, it was. The number 8 car of Josh Levy into the wall. He goes. There's Paul Nicholson slithering up his inside. Chris Hulse already leading the AM category. Apologies, I think I referred to the pros as AMs in the first race, and I mean it's an accurate description, I feel, but it may have caused confusion, so we'll just clarify that for you. I don't want to say my heart isn't in this. I'm aware, like, I haven't listened back to my commentary of the first race, but I feel like it was. It seemed like my heart wasn't in it, and I don't think it's really improved for this race either, because I'm doing this with the child in the bull pit. He's looking at me and smiling. I'm not smiling at him, yeah, I may have to step away from commentary duties. What I'm banking on is this being another uneventful race. We'll put it, not dull as shit, or however I described the first one. But I'm banking on it being an uneventful race, and any interjections where I need to go and tend to the child will hopefully not occur when this crash is going on. Well, first couple of laps are in the bag, I'm going to, try and work out why SDK overlays aren't working. Oh, that is someone going around the outside of somebody there. Oh, and there is a crash. That's Anthony Marriott into the barriers. Favourite, or potential favourite, to win this. But he teleports back to the pit lane. Not sure what happened there. We will have a look back at that at the end and find out what went wrong. Just in case you... just to ease that the disappointment of that crash, Tuggy, the kid is still smiling at me, so he was happy to see it. So this is what happened to Anthony Marriott alongside Brian Dodd on the inside, and the rear end just gets away from him down into the lower barrier. The bumper gives up at the very end and then slides impressively far. He should go curling with that bumper. Well, the latest theory is because I didn't open up the actual overlay, I just opened up the timing section of SDK. That's why it won't open. You have to open both sections of the software for it to work, just as Chris Hulse plows into the barriers there. So no overlays for this race. My apologies to everyone. This is going to be even shitter. Well, this is the closest battle out on track at the moment. Whilst I can't pull up the overlay software for you, what I can tell you is Jamie Nicholson, Jeff Sharp and Dan Slattery all within 0.7 of a second of each other. There they are in shot. James Hurlow is just a second up the road from these guys. You can see him there in the foreground. And then as it goes in the, where are we? In the AM category. And in fairness, it's pretty close in the AM category as well. I realised I wasn't looking quite at the right bit of information there. But you can see there, Chris Hulse is leading the way. Josh Leffy is in second. And there is Steve Everson. He's running in third place at the moment. These guys all fairly close to each other, and Josh Levy looking to make a move up the inside as they head into one of the corners here at Pocono. Levy perhaps gets out of it a little bit as they come out of that corner, maybe not wanting to run the risk of running up into the side of Chris Hulse, but he's still got a decent run as they head down the main straight. Takes a look to the inside. He has another go. Will he be slightly more committing this time? Really committing to the extreme low line there. Chris Hulse running the higher line. And maintains that first position. Steve Everson just waiting in the wings. You can't help but feel he may just be biding his time, hoping that Hulse and Levy get a little bit too close to each other. Well, that's a little bit too close to the wall from Levy. There's quite a heavy hit. Not sure if he's picked up any damage from that, but Steve Everson pounces from his waiting position, looking to go all the way around the outside, and he does get that job done, but that contact with the wall has enabled Chris Hulse to open up a... Wow, it's only a 0.3 of a second. A little bit of racing there to get excited about, guys. Well, things have started to close up a bit then in the pro category. James Hurlow leads the way still, but you can see Jamie Nicholson is right up behind him, as is Jeff Sharp and Dan Slattery, winner of the first race. Dan Slattery, he is surely biding his time, looking after those tyres. It is something that I believe you have to do at Pocono. Having never raced here myself, I'm not sure, but it isn't simply a case of just putting your foot down and going until the end. Tyre management is crucial. Oh dear, looks like my child has fallen over. Oh, my apologies, people. James Hurlow is low and has lost the lead. I was tending to the child, which is why I wasn't really commentating on that. And there's definitely been contact with the wall. Jamie Nicholson the right-hand side of his Mustang looking a little worse for wear. Dan Slattery has made his way up into second place, but Jeff Sharp has now inherited the lead. He was in third place and now in first. Well... Oh, and there's a pass. Dan Slattery has made the move on Jeff Sharp, and you can see there confirmation. The number 24 is, yeah, ahead. Sharp shows his nose as they head into yet another left-hander. Slattery... Well, my co-commentator making a very good point there. Slattery has already pulled that gap out. It's only 0.2 of a second. Question is, can he get away from Sharp? Use up some of those tyres, perhaps, where he was saving earlier in the race. We will see. Wow, he's actually opened it up by... Wow, 0.2 of a second. And it continues to increase. He is making his moves before the pit stops, perhaps, looking to make sure he has plenty of space to get in and out the pits without any issue. And apologies, Steve Everson, I have missed this. It looks like you have taken the lead from Chris Hulse. Have you been looking after your tyres well as well? Well, we are not sure because I don't have any tyre information. But Steve Everson currently leading the AM category by over 1.1 seconds. Oh, wow, that is Dan Slattery making an absolutely... Wow, what a cock-up that was, Slattery. Just call him Ricky Worrell with that sort of pit entry. Oh, and that is Chris Hulse going all over the place. Every time I step away, something exciting happens, and you can see there that mistake for Dan Slattery as they exit the pits is fatal because Jeff Sharp is now leading the way. Interesting thing here is James Hurlow, who hasn't pitted yet, I don't believe, is now separating Sharp and Slattery. Slattery looking to get round the outside of Hurlow. He says, get out of my way, this is not your race anymore. Slattery did show impressive tyre management in the first race. Drove away from the field. Can he do the same here? Jeff Sharp will try and stop him in whatever way he can. And we all know Jeff Sharp's ways can be, I don't know, prohibitive, I suppose. And Slattery slides up the inside and plucks that first position. The cock-up on pit entry may not have cost him too much. Where's Slattery gone? Slattery? Slattery's back in the pits. I can only assume he got done for speeding. You have to say, actually... Perhaps more likely, unsafe pit entry, locking up all your tyres and going sideways into the pits does tend to be frowned upon by the stewards. Oh, hello. It appears I'm wrong, everybody. Just having a closer look at the information, I believe James Hurlow has pitted, so this is genuinely for position. My apologies, James. When I was suggesting earlier that Slattery was saying, get out my way, this is not your race, it appears that I was speaking out my arse. So we have a two-horse race then for the win here in the pro category. Jamie Nicholson, 3.7 seconds back, so that's a lot to make up. Let's go and take a look and see what's going on in the AM category. Well, there is our AM leader leading the way. He has a 3.2... No, that's incorrect. He has a 3-second lead, I should say. Oh, no, he's got a much bigger gap than that. He's... Oh, you know what? It's around 3.5, 4 seconds back to Paul Nicholson. Paul Nicholson, you can see in the distance there, just behind Dan Slattery, who will be ruining that poor pit entry. Could have been on for a double win this evening, and that really would have put him in a very commanding position as the championship goes. Oh, apparently James Hurlow's had a crash. Not sure where that has occurred. I am on crashes, so either I just wasn't watching when it happened, or it didn't register it as a crash, and... well, there's yellow flags out as well. Everyone's lapping slowly, or is it the end of the race? I'm pretty confident I saw yellow LED signs flashing, which, well, I'm going to assume it was James Hurlow, because that's what it says in the event logger. Well, thanks, James, just elongating my misery. Well, this is where the first safety car came out and slithers round up into the barriers. James Hurlow didn't look like too big of an impact, but it did cause the safety car to come out. Well, this is, of course, very exciting. As much as my comments just there suggested, it's a pain in the arse. But what this means is the field will all bunch up. Slattery, who had previously looked dead and buried in this one, is all of a sudden back in the running, though he will have things to do. So the running order for Pro category is Jeff Sharp, Jamie Nicholson, Dan Slattery and James Hurlow. And in the AM category, we have Josh Levy still leading the way. Looks like Chris Hulse is then in second. Steve Everson with Paul Nicholson, Brian Dodd and Anthony Marriott. Anthony Marriott, they were lapped down. You will recall he had a big incident early on in this one. Lucky dog for him, perhaps. Well, and a lot of them... ow! Oh, Jesus Christ. A lot of them dive into the pits. The child just bloody pulled the phone off the desk and it landed right on the end of one of my toes. Well, that is crucial. Jeff Sharp leading the way as they went into the pits. You can see he's last out of the pits in this gaggle. Jamie Nicholson's ahead of him. Dan Slattery's ahead of him. That has not gone as he would have hoped. And I don't know how long we've got left, but I can assure you, not too much. Yeah, we are in the 42nd minute of this race, so it's going to be a race to the line, really. And the hammer drops. They are underway again. Not sure how much longer we've got of this one. Steve Everson is the one leading the way. Jamie Nicholson and James Hurlow both side by side. Wow, there you go. You watch a race where not much is happening for 40 minutes and then all of a sudden a race breaks out at the end. Jamie Nicholson still up the inside of James Hurlow here. Steve Everson has made an excellent break for it. He is looking good for the AM win. That's Josh Levy alongside James Hurlow now. Dan Slattery will not be wanting this. Neither will Jeff Sharp. They will want to try and make progress to close down Jamie Nicholson leading the way in the Pro category. Oh, there's contact. They just about hold it together. That was Slattery and Hurlow. And that contact has meant that it's spread out a little bit. But Hurlow has dropped back again. Sharp into the wall. Hurlow follows him, but not quite as severely. Oh, that's a big hit from Slattery. There's somebody going into the pits as well. I think that is James Hurlow going into the pits. Slattery made big connection with the wall there. I'd be surprised if he's escaped with no damage. And you can see there in the background, Jeff Sharp gets past him. Levy and Nicholson inseparable at the moment, these two. And Steve Everson looks like he may have had a poor corner there because he all of a sudden is being closed down by these two. different races going on here. Jamie Nicholson, part of the pro category. He's just trying to get away from Jeff Sharp and Dan Slattery. Josh Levy, he's trying to catch up with Steve Everson to take the category win, and Jamie Nicholson going into the barriers will help that cause. He now has Steve Everson ahead of him, just under half a second in it. And you can see there, Josh Levy now right on the back of Steve Everson. Jeff Sharp right on the back of Jamie Nicholson. The two category battles for the lead in shot here. Dan Slattery looking to try and cling on to this, but I imagine he is carrying some damage. Josh Levy's up the inside of Steve Everson as they go through turn 4. How on a 3-corner track can you have a turn 4? That makes no sense. 2 minutes left comes the call from crew chief in my ear. God, I tell you what. It has been an hour and 10 minutes of racing tonight and 5 minutes of really exciting racing at the end. This is excellent stuff. Jamie Nicholson looking low. He is looking to get past Everson and Levy, but he's not going to be able to do it there. Jeff Sharp taking a wider line in, looking to get the momentum on the way out. Oh, that is contact. Steve Everson went high and swept back across the track. Jeff Sharp is caught up in that as well. That is always a shame to see. And where is Steve Everson? His car is looking worse for wear as well. Are those front tyres even on the ground? That is not a happy looking machine. Well, all of a sudden, a very exciting end to this race has now become ever so slightly predictable. Josh Levy leading the way then in the AM category. He's got Paul Nicholson, his closest competitor, but he's 2.5 seconds back. Oh, okay, obviously there's I forgot we have safety cars in oval racing. Yes, that's going to slow things up again, yet again. And the incident here between Steve Everson and Jeff Sharp. And Jeff Sharp, really the innocent party there. You need to innocent party better, Jeff Sharp, as I have said before. So Steve Everson just gets up into the barriers and, then comes down. Nothing Jeff Sharp could do about that. So the lights on the safety car are out. Not sure what the state of play is. I had the call of 2 minutes to go in my ear just before the safety car did come out. Now, is it going to be green, white, checkered? Well, the green flag is flying, so I imagine it will be green, white. No, it is checkered flag. So, well, that was a lot of fun waiting for that to happen. And, they crossed the line. That is Josh Levy taking the win in the AM category. And it looks like, there's some bad temper going on here. Oh, and that's Everson sweeping across the track. But, and then in the pro category, it looks like it's Jamie Nicholson that has taken the lead there. Unfortunately, as I said earlier, no overlay, so we cannot confirm that. But what we will do is take a look at the standings in just 1 second. Well, taking a look then at the AM standings following that, and Chris Hulse looks like he's starting to get a bit of a commanding lead. Bad luck for Anthony Marriott, particularly in that second race. He's dropped off a bit in the standings. 163 points to Chris Hulse, 132 to Anthony Marriott. Josh Levy had a strong evening. He's on 123 points, closing in on that second place. And who knows, could he catch up Chris Hulse to make it a battle for the lead in the championship? Steve Everson is then in 4th on 96 with Axel Edwards in 5th on 73. 30 points back is Chris Palmer. Paul Nicholson's then on 36 with Brian Dodd on 30. Just 1 point back is Josh Morris on 29 points. Mark Audley is then in 10th on 23 points. And Travis Dorado is 11th on 18 points. In the pro category, Dan Slattery, a commanding lead for him. 3 wins on 169 points. Jamie Nicholson is then in second place on 115 points. Jeff Sharp in third on 109. Lord Pendlebury just 5 points back in fourth on 104 points. James Hurlow's then in fifth place on 86 with Ricky Worrell on 64. Will Thomas is on 63 with Steve Moore in 8th on 36. And Nelson Verdier rounds out the 9 pro competitors. He is on 18 points. Sorry, Baby's head was in my way. Well, thank you very much for getting involved, and thank you very much for watching. If you have watched this far, then my God, you need to do something with your life. But next week we will be racing in the Lotus 79s at Le Mans. So all about that top speed and zero grip. Trust me, I've been doing some practicing earlier today, and front tyres really seem optional at this point. They have that little turn in. But we will catch you next week for that.